What kind of being could create an entire universe? This question has followed humanity for thousands of years, and no one has ever found a clear answer. But what if the answer was never hidden and was actually given to us thousands of years ago? And what if we've been looking in the wrong place this whole time? Let's take a journey through history and explore how ancient civilizations and religions tried to define the Creator, the absolute force, the true source of everything. Because long before modern science, they already had their own answers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. In this video, we explore the idea of a creator, not as a being, but as a system, a concept that has existed since the earliest civilizations. Because for thousands of years, humans have tried to understand the Creator, yet the human mind was never able to fully grasp it. That's why most beliefs gave it a human form, something we could understand. But what if the truth was never meant to be human? What you're about to see is not a final answer, but a collection of clues, pieces of a much bigger puzzle. Because in the end, the mystery of the Creator may not be something we solve, but something we slowly begin to see. Some societies attributed sanctity to fire, some to the sun, and some to the moon. The common point is that they were all elements of nature. Humans are programmed to make sense of creation. At that time, it was probably not yet possible to imagine anything beyond the physical world. The records of human history date back to ancient times, but since writing began around 5000 BC, our knowledge about the earlier world is limited. For a long time, mainstream history described the pre-Sumerian period as primitive people living very simple lives. But this idea is a claim that may soon completely collapse. As you know, Göbekli Tepe alone was enough to challenge this belief. And today, excavations are being carried out in dozens of places around it. Who knows what else will be discovered? However, for now, we have to continue our journey through written history. The belief system of the Sumerians, who emerged after the flood and blended older beliefs with mythology, is considered the first systematic and organized belief system that we know of today. Let's begin with the origins of written history. Ancient Sumer. The Sumerians called the Anunnaki gods, and they worshipped them. So what does that really mean? Some say this was simply a polytheistic belief system. And yes, on the surface it looks that way. But the part most people focus on is the Anunnaki themselves, the prominent, powerful gods. The word Anunnaki means the celestial beings descended from An and Ki. An, also known as Anu, was the sky god. The Anunnaki were considered the great gods descended from him. Below them were the Igigi, the lower-ranking gods. This was a divine hierarchy, created from a human point of view, and the people who wrote these texts placed themselves at the very bottom of that hierarchy, almost like servants, or maybe exactly like servants, the human race, servants and slaves of the gods, bowing and submitting to them. Notice this carefully. These words would be used thousands of years later as the foundation of the Abrahamic religions. In the stories, we are told that the Anunnaki, despite being a superior race, were still a race. They eat, they drink, they walk, and they die. So even if post-flood civilizations called them gods, they were not gods. They were simply a superior celestial race. Perhaps even an alien race. But this raises a much bigger question. Who created them? This is a critical question, and there is an answer. The power that created the Anunnaki, which I just mentioned, appears on several levels. So step by step, let's move to the highest level. Here, An appears as the sky god, and Kai as the earth goddess. Together, they symbolize universal opposition and duality. This is the critical point. In some epics, this opposition symbolizes masculinity and femininity. Sometimes, An and Ki are written as a unified An, representing the universe and the cosmos. Therefore, this concept of duality is the fundamental order of our three-dimensional universe, like positive and negative, feminine and masculine, hot and cold, dark and light. Our universe arose from the dance of contradictions, the unity of chaos and order. In other words, a system of opposites, duality. And the Sumerians were describing this long before science even existed. They successfully explained the formation of the universe. A similar narrative appears in Egyptian belief. At the very top of the pantheon of gods is Nun, the essence from which even the gods came into existence. Just like in the Sumerian narrative, what is called Nun is the divine chaos before creation, the endless waters, and everything originates from this plane, just like the Sumerian concepts of Mi and Nam. Then, when this existence takes form, the main god Atum appears on his own and creates the order of the universe, called Ma'at, that is, its laws. And thanks to these laws, and Atum, the 9 great divine beings, the Ennead, are formed. Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. After that come the fantastic Egyptian stories you already know. You noticed the common theme, didn't you? First there is chaos, a void called the endless waters. In the Nasadiya Sukta, the hymn of creation, it is stated, "In the beginning, there was neither existence nor non-existence. There was neither air nor sky beyond. There was neither death nor immortality. At that time, there was no sign to distinguish night from day." Just like in ancient Mesopotamian civilizations, 5 things emerge from that endless emptiness and confusion. Gaia, representing the earth. Tartaros, representing the underground, the concept of transcendent and creative power. Eros, being divine. And Erebos and Nyx, representing darkness. After them, the Titans and the Olympian gods came into existence. Later, the Olympian gods brought order to creation by fighting the Titans. In other words, the orderly universe we call the cosmos took its current form, and life began on Earth. Formation, process, and annihilation. Then again, formation, process, and annihilation. The endless cycle of creation. The same narrative continues in almost the same way all over the world. But finally, let's look at ancient Greek cosmology and mythology, because a change that I want to show you is very clearly seen there. Now, when most people say Greek god, they think of Zeus, the most powerful being atop Mount Olympus. But that is not the case at all. In Greek cosmology, the highest concept is chaos, what we call chaos. In early Greek texts, Kronos, the chief titan and the father of Zeus, and Chronos, the concept of time, were described separately. However, as centuries passed, both of them appeared as the same concept in later Greek works, the great Titan Kronos, a cruel and implacable titan who devours his children. However, the intertwined symbolism here actually tells us something else. The Titan Kronos had the power to eat even his own children, the great gods. Because that thing called Kronos was time. In other words, even the gods on Mount Olympus did not have the strength to stand against the power of time. It is one of the best examples of how 2 separate concepts combine into a single structure and form a common and complex meaning. But now comes an even better example. Because the Abrahamic religions were born in Mesopotamia, and there we encounter an extremely complex concept of God. It is a concept that even today many people cannot fully understand. The main problem in the Abrahamic religions is the concept of an unimaginable, absolute creator. In the Jewish book we call the Torah, which was largely compiled after the Babylonian captivity, we encounter Elohim and Yahweh as the creator beings. But this being has extremely human characteristics. He gets angry, curses people, takes sides in wars, makes agreements with people, and when they break their promises, he punishes them. In other words, he manages existence with very human reactions. Friends, please ignore my words and read the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran yourselves for research. Otherwise, you may think I am exaggerating the things I mention in these videos. Believe me, I am presenting it in a very softened form. And the issue in the Torah does not end there. Besides the concept of Elohim, the text also mentions the Bene Elohim, which literally means the sons of God, or the lineage of God. By saying this, the text already introduces more than one divine being. And from this point on, some people believe that what is described in the Torah is actually the story of the Anunnaki mentioned in Sumerian, Babylonian, and Akkadian texts. According to this idea, the Torah combined these beings into one concept and presented them under the name Yahweh Elohim. This is why the God in the text shows such human emotions. While the Israelites accepted this system of social control, those who believed they knew the truth formed a separate sect. They called themselves Kabbalists, and they worked quietly in the shadows. In fact, the Jewish mysticism we call Kabbalah began to emerge during the Roman period, when religious confusion reached its peak. During this time, the Jews were under great oppression, and they began to wait for a Messiah. They combined ideas that came from Babylon with their own beliefs. And this eventually turned into the complex religious system we see today. According to historical records, a group who believed they knew this truth founded the Kabbalah tradition in the 1st century BC. The word Kabbalah comes from the Hebrew root kabal, meaning to receive or to accept. But the main idea of this group was very different. They believed that Elohim and Yahweh, mentioned in the Torah, actually came from an indescribable and eternal source called Ein Sof. In other words, this philosophy says that everything, even the beings that ancient people called gods, came from this infinite and undefined source. And according to this belief, Elohim, Ben Elohim, and Yahweh are also beings that came from this source. Therefore, they are not the absolute creators. The Torah humanizes this concept and presents it to us as an angry and jealous God. In short, it may sound harsh, but there is almost no trace of the absolute creator in the Torah. When we come to the Bible, we again find ourselves in complex narratives. The Bible is a book that was created in Rome as a result of synthesizing various information spread throughout the empire at the time. So, it is a bit complicated, but it also contains some valuable information for those who are looking for it. After all, Rome did not include completely unnecessary information, and there are some truly meaningful messages here and there. Here are some explanations about creation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him, all things were made. Without him, nothing that has been made was made. We understand by faith that the universe was created by God's command, so that what is seen was made from what is unseen. The image of the invisible God is the firstborn of all creation. For through him and for him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Look, these are beautiful verses. But the ancient stories that told us about the endless waters of chaos before creation, about duality at the first moment of creation, and about the laws that formed the universe, are now gone. People have forgotten these scientific and philosophical ideas, and now everything is connected only to God. No problem. The older stories were also connecting everything to a higher power. But I wanted you to see how dozens of beautiful pieces of knowledge and detail were removed, because this shows us that people became more simplistic, and ancient knowledge was largely forgotten. I will not give too many more examples from the Bible, because much of the later text tries to establish that Jesus and God are the same, the Father and the Son. Normally, there are many messages in the Bible that say, God, Jesus, and even humans are actually one. Because of this narrative error in the Bible, at least for this topic, the fate of the event has nothing to do with the absolute creator. Yes, God is love, good, etc. There are positive messages such as these, but for me personally, it is a Roman compilation book that has no sacred value. That's why, rather than researching only the Bible, I prefer to study the books of Apollonius, Hermetic knowledge, and old pagan philosophical beliefs, which are the basis for the creation of the Bible. Because the message at the heart of the Bible actually lies there, without Roman influence. Just like the Kabbalists, the group that investigates this essence is called Gnostics in the Christian world. But the papacy declared them heretics, killed most of them, and banned their knowledge. Islam came almost 600 years after the Bible and is the religion of the last Abraham. If anyone among you has really researched the origins of Islam, prayer, and the Quran, I am sure that its close connection with the concepts of Hinduism and paganism has attracted your attention. In fact, this close bond led to the formation of Sufism in the future. I told you that there are 3 basic narrative patterns in the Quran: I, we, and he. In other words, a creator with different characteristics is described. For example, surely we will throw those who disbelieve in our signs into the fire. As their skins burn and fall off, we will replace them with other skins so that they may taste the torment. Surely Allah has absolute power, judgment, and wisdom. These are 2 groups quarreling about their Lord. Say, He is Allah, the One. Allah, the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, and there is nothing comparable to Him. Allah, there is no God but Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of existence. He is the originator of the heavens and the earth. When He decrees a matter, He only says, be, and it is. We are closer to Him than His jugular vein. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden, and He has knowledge of all things. He is Allah, other than whom there is no deity, the sovereign, the pure, the source of peace. We did not leave anything out of the book. Then all will be gathered before their Lord. All authority and power belong completely to Him. If they try to deceive you, then Allah is sufficient for you. Boiling water will be poured over their heads. It will melt their insides and their skins. They will be struck with iron maces. Every time they try to escape, they will be returned to the punishment. Taste the punishment of the fire. When we look at the verses in the Quran regarding the creation of the universe, we see that it has a mixed narrative. In fact, in general, the Quran is the book that explains many things with the least amount of detail compared to previous books, such as the Bible and the Torah. When I criticize the systems of the Abrahamic religions, people think that I mean there is no God. This is a very wrong idea. I hope you understood this better. Ask yourself this question. What comes to your mind first when I say God? Look, I'm asking about the first thought that comes to your mind. Is it a concept beyond your comprehension? Or is a humanoid-like but very powerful being coming to your mind? Most people imagine a being, because both the books and the religious stories tell us like this. That is why, subconsciously, we always imagine him as an almost physical being that we could stand in front of. However, it has nothing to do with this. This is an extremely wrong explanation. Even reducing a concept beyond perception to the level of a physical existence is the human mind trying to limit infinity. Do not forget this. That is why the omnipotent creator in your heart and the God described in the books you read do not match, and your faith collapses. Do not make this mistake. For some reason, when people hear the word God, they immediately think of a flesh and blood creature sitting above. They believe that this being interferes with everything, and when you die, it will come before you, judge you, and either reward you or physically punish you. Since they could not find a proper description of this power in religious books, like the descriptions we see in ancient civilizations, they automatically humanized it. This is a problem we encounter in every period of history. Today, we cannot even comprehend what science calls a quantum field actually looks like, but we now know what it does. It constantly creates everything around us and beyond, continuously. So what is this? Is this a consciousness? Is this a sea of energy? Is this just a pulse of energy in the mind of an infinite being? We do not know this right now, and we probably will never know for sure. Yes, we will get closer to understanding, but I don't think we will ever know exactly. And for ages, no one could describe this thing. The ancients called it the Sea of Infinity. They called it endless chaos. They called it endless water. But we don't know what it was, or what it was like. When you say quantum field, don't think of it as a transition, or even a plane. It would be too simple to think that when energy passes through some kind of space, explosive matter is formed. This is an all-encompassing concept, separate from time and space, where everything exists in a constant cycle of existence and destruction. This is the closest we can come to describing it, because it challenges our perception. Maybe this is what we truly call the Creator. It is the supreme concept that surrounds us all, that we are a part of, that observes our existence and our destruction, and then our existence again, in an instant beyond time. And maybe we forced our brains to give it physical features similar to us, just to understand even a small part of its greatness. And for this reason, today's religions may present the true Creator to us as almost a supreme humanoid, because we cannot understand. And because of our ego, we do not want to accept what we cannot understand. We are talking about an endless order of creation and destruction beyond time. Each creation may change or disappear depending on the choices we make. For example, the whole world may be living in peace right now. In another reality, it may have already disappeared. All of these may be happening at the same time as a result of the choices of conscious beings. That is why constant divine intervention would destroy the system, because the system comes into existence and disappears through free will and choices. And if this is happening independently of time, why would the Creator need to intervene? In any case, in the face of every possibility, under every condition, we are just one of those possibilities. And as many philosophical traditions say, we create this reality with the choices we make. It is difficult to understand and difficult to live by this idea. But I think this should be the ultimate goal of every human being. Because in this system, according to ancient belief systems, good and bad actions affect your other existences. They either bring you closer to the Creator or take you further away from it. Ultimately, the goal is to transform into a soul that is worthy of returning to the source. Otherwise, they say, you will remain trapped in this endless cycle, suffering the painful consequences of your mistakes. Day and night, the cycle of the moon, the movement of the stars, birth and death, destruction and creation again. There is an order that works beyond time, and humans are not outside of this order. We are right in the middle of it. Thousands of years ago, ancient civilizations observed the sky. The Egyptians, the Sumerians, the Babylonians. They built structures that we still cannot fully explain today. They built pyramids, they built temples, and they aligned all of these structures with the sky and the stars. The most important thing they left behind was their connection with the sky and the stars they observed, because they believed that there was a connection between the order in the sky and the life of a human being. What we today call a birth chart is actually a part of this order. The south node in a birth chart represents the past, habits, repeated mistakes, the place where a person feels comfortable but cannot grow. The north node shows the direction we must go, the difficult path, the unknown path, but the necessary path. As long as a person repeats the same mistakes, they remain inside the same cycle. This cycle continues until what must be learned is learned. What we call evolution of the soul is moving in the direction we are meant to go. Only when a person walks on the right path can they change. Only on the right path can they evolve. And only then can they find the path that leads to the Creator. That is the whole point. Not repeating the past, but changing direction. The real journey of a human being begins the moment they turn their face toward the north node. And at the end of that road, a human returns to where they came from, to the Creator. Keep this video as a reference point. And if you want, you can join me on this journey by subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and sharing it with the people around you. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.